Ladies and gentlemen, I got a very special show today. You know, I don't always reveal my sources of information because, I got to do these broadcasts all the time. But even we who do this have people we go to. And one of those people is the guy I'm going to interview right now. And I want you to know my secret source. It's Jeff Childers. He's the author of a Substack called Coffee and COVID. And I encourage you all sign up and get it. Then you'll be up on the same page with me. I start my day, of course, with the Bible, and then I go to a couple of information updates. I'm on Real America's Voice, War Room with Bannon and that stuff, so I kind of keep my finger on the pulse of the madness over there. But this guy, Jeff Childers, has been remarkable at doing three things. I think it's his legal background gives him a kind of a prescient eye to be able to realize where the lies are happening and where the truth is. Secondly, he has a remarkable ability to deal with negative subjects in an optimistic way, which is what a Christian wants. I mean, you're supposed to be walking by faith and have a helmet of hope and all that. But then, what's interesting also is he has a kind of a fascinating sense of humor. So he's kind of like what I would look for in a Rush Limbaugh type that comes from and because my audience is largely Christian, he doesn't come off leading with that, but it's clearly there. So he's giving you a Christian, hopeful analysis with an appropriate amount of sass and tongue-in-cheekness to let you know that he's dealing with some of the darkest subject matter in a way that doesn't leave you icky when you get done with it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jeff Childers. Please come into the show. There he is. All right, brother. So that's my introduction for you, and I'm curious about, did you always know that you had a gift for writing, or would you say your strength is in writing or in stand-up or talking?
Well, first, thank you very much for that warm introduction. I didn't realize that I was hitting on all those cylinders, so I'm going to make a note of that, try to make sure I live up to it. I've been a lawyer for a long time. Have a litigation practice, and as a litigator, my job is to persuade judges and juries of things. And 90% of that work, right up until trial, pretty much is in writing. So I've been a writer for a long time. What's new is being a blogger. That was unexpected. It was a pandemic miracle, I guess you could call it. I never thought that I would start doing it. And once I got started, I never thought it would continue until the pandemic was over, at least. And it kept on going. So here we are.
Well, so you write with a little bit of depth on the Maha movement and all that. I didn't know this until I started noticing you gave lengthy, detailed coverage of what's going on with the CDC or with, the data on damage from the vaccines. And I thought, my gosh, he really gets into these subjects. But then I realized that you actually were one of the lawyers in Florida that was arguing regarding the mask mandate. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. I filed one of the first, if not the first, lawsuit against the mask mandates in Florida in, I think, May of 20.
Okay, so you started really with that and then kind of worked expanding into a lot more of the political subject matter. And thank God you're there because, like I said, you're able to have I'd say a plumb line of absolute, you have a sense of what's absolute truth, but you're able also to call out the BS, and you do it in a kind of in a witty way that, you have just a way of saying things that just cracks me up. I underline it and I think this is like stand-up material, like the metaphors you use are hilarious. Do they come by nature, or do you have your own Substack source of metaphors that are comical that you keep?
No, it's all, I start with a blank screen at around 5 a.m. and by 9 or 10 a.m. I publish. That's my deadline. So, Yeah, everything that goes in there is affected by how strong my coffee is, how many cups I have, how much brain fog is left over.
Hence the coffee and COVID. So you see the frustration on our side of the camp with this. We know the mafia-like rigging that goes on the left all over the place, and they never seem to be caught. It's almost like, how does this happen that they never get caught? It's like the Roadrunner in reverse. Right when they're trapped, they get out of it. So it looks like John Solomon is saying that the Brennan case, with him coming kind of in the conspiracy to against Trump, that he might be the first olive out of the jar in terms of, because they're doing it in Florida, not in D.C., where 98% of the Democrat influenced juries, are always lenient with their own criminal cohorts. But can you give us an update so that our audience that doesn't follow this closely but is saying, where is there the justice in this stuff? What's happening right now with the prosecutions that the FBI is after and that the Department of Justice is after? Do you have any sense of that?
So there's two tracks. The first track is what we know, and that track is very narrow. We don't know a lot for sure because they aren't talking and they shouldn't talk. The DOJ can easily ruin a prosecution by talking too much, and then that gives the defendant the opportunity to argue that the jury pool's been tainted and so on. So, they don't do a lot of talking usually. What we do know is that the grand jury was impaneled in South Florida summer of last year, and they're still working. We know that Tulsi Gabbard has been declassifying lots of material related to Russiagate, Trump impeachment, and the 2020 election. So most of us who are observing this with legal background think that the reason Tulsi is declassifying stuff and putting it, up on the web is because they've also declassified it for the grand jury. And the simultaneous release to the grand jury and to the public sort of gets all of us, we comment on it and we talk about it and it gets on social media, and that sort of prepares the public potentially for what's coming. So instead of everybody being shocked at who might be named in some of these indictments, now we'll say, aha, they finally, got the guy or whatever. So that's the public track.
So the narrative that I've been following is every time the Democrats are guilty of something, they create an accusation against Trump that is pretty much a mirror of what they're guilty of, and that becomes like the red herring. So, for instance, Hillary had some problems with Russia and with Ukraine, so it was going to become an embarrassment for her. So they went on the offense and said that Russia was colluding with Trump and that Trump was somehow compromised with Russia, and then Russiagate comes along, and in a similar way, let's see, there's another phase in that thing with Ukraine, which is Biden's involvement with Ukraine, and that was kind of when they decided to go after the Mar-a-Lago documents that Trump had supposedly he shouldn't have had in his own possession. But when you sit back, and I guess this is the problem, when you sit back and look at connecting the dots a year or two later, your outrage meter is only frustrated that nothing ever gets called out. But it's almost like the party moves on to the latest crazy thing that's happening. And so the real question is, will there be any, I guess what we want is we just want to see somebody indicted, and they call it the perp walk, someone that's got to do the mugshot like Trump did. And what I am told is, John Solomon saying, that John Thune evidently took the pressure off of the disclosure of certain documents or had to come from the Senate approval, and he submitted a request rather than the way the left would do it, which is demanding it, with an injunction or something. Is there a technical problem going on right now in the Senate in terms of advancing the disclosure of documentations that the civilized majority leader of the Republicans is being a little too polite with? Are you aware of this?
So let's pull back and take a broader view of this whole thing. I say on Cocking COVID all the time that I don't know the plan, and I don't want to know the plan, and I shouldn't know the plan, because if I know the plan, then our enemies will find out the plan too. So one of the things that Trump 2.0 has really excelled at is not leaking. And it's driving the media crazy. And for evidence, just look at how much, screaming and thrashing around they do over claiming that Trump doesn't have a plan for the Strait of Hormuz. What didn't happen was Trump didn't tell them the plan.
Right.
And that's what drives them crazy. They want to know all of our war plans in advance before we attack anybody.
Yeah, exactly. And I suppose the worst part of that is I think he's doing a brilliant job. I mean, they're suffering $400 million a day worth of damage. The fact that they're not able to put together a team to negotiate, I don't think that that's necessarily the worst thing. I think it's forcing them to have a struggle for who is actually speaking and representing Iran right now, and there's multiple factions involved. But does it ever worry you that the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and that the legacy media has the platform they've got to create political pressure and disinformation in the populace? I mean, guys like you are telling the truth. We have a whole bunch of us and a little army of, from Glenn Beck to whatever. But does it concern you that the legacy media is so adversarial that they can actually be working for the opposition, even for Iran in this case?
Yeah, I mean, one of the most annoying things, and in a long stream of annoyances from the corporate media, is how they appear to be rooting for Iran to win the war because it might somehow politically hurt Trump. I mean, that's where we are now, Lance, that major newspapers in the U.S. are rooting for terrorist organizations that kill their own people and commit, all kinds of war crimes and human rights crimes. But if it just will take Trump down one little notch, then that's their guy. They want to support the Ayatollah. It's just crazy.
It is irrational, and that's why I like to see guys like you going after them. We got to take a quick break, but we'll be right back.
Hello, welcome to T-Town. Like men over 40 everywhere. These guys experience a drop in testosterone. Don't worry, it happens to all of us. Some guys took my advice about how to boost their testosterone, and some didn't. This guy got the message loud and clear.
That's right, Nugenix Total T2.
From the #1 selling testosterone brand at GNC comes Nugenix Total T2, a unique new formula that combines the ultimate free and total testosterone booster with a powerful nitric oxide booster that works in just 3 hours. Feel like a new man, leaner, stronger, with more energy and drive. Get your complimentary bottle by texting SURGE to 321-321.
Thanks. It'll make you feel like a new man. And by the way, she'll like it too.
You can only try before you buy with this special offer. Get your complimentary bottle now. Text SURGE to 321-321. Do it now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Neurozone Brain Supplement, absolutely free.
Hey, I'm Dr. Drupinski. I've been looking at the aging process for a long time. Fatty 15 actually slows it down. Fatty 15 comes out of Navy dolphin research. Without the C15, our cells become fragile and age and oxidize. This pushes that back. That's why I take Fatty 15.
Losing your hair? Tired of hiding and looking older than you really are? With Bosley, you can get your real hair back permanently. One visit, one day.
Guys, it's so easy. It takes one day, and this is my real hair.
Bosley, America's #1 hair restoration experts. Exclusive high-density Verigraft technology will give you a thick and natural hairline.
Bosley gave me back my real hair in one day.
We're giving away a free Real Hair Starter Kit and a $300 gift card to everyone who scans this QR code. Bosley has performed over 500,000 procedures for men and women and has over 40,000 five-star reviews.
I'm a medical doctor myself. If you want the best result, you go to the best place, and that's Bosley.
It's affordable, 0% interest. If I can afford it, you can afford it.
Plus, it's all backed by the Bosley Real Results Guarantee.
Dude, scan the code, get the free kit. It is easy, and it'll change your life.
Scan, call, or go to Bosley.com right now.
Attention homeowners. Are you behind on your mortgage payments? Is the bank threatening to take your home? Is your home worth less than you owe? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you need to call this number right now.
Call 800-714-8615.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and bookstores. We'll even promote your book.
Call for your free writer's guide, 800-319-0257, or scan the QR code now.
Welcome back. We're talking to Jeff Childers of Coffee and COVID Substack fame, one of my favorite people. This is our first interview. Let's get back into it. Tell me this, though. My staff says that you were focusing on some Act Blue information from Ken Paxton. Act Blue. What's the deal with Act Blue? What do we need to know about why there is a problem with Act Blue? Obviously, they're the money processing arm of the Democrat Party, but what's going on with Act Blue?
Okay, so the simple version is that back in 2023-24, James O'Keefe did a series of viral videos where he took donor lists who donated through Act Blue, and he went to knock on their door to ask them if they actually made the donations that the donor list showed. And some of these examples were crazy. Like, you have some retired old lady who's on Social Security, and according to the Act Blue donor list, she donated $839,000 over 3 years in like 23,000 separate donations. And of course, when O'Keefe goes to the door, the lady's like, "Are you kidding me? Of course I didn't do that." So that started a ball rolling. And the Republicans in Congress under Biden started investigating, and Ken Paxton in Texas, the attorney general over there, he started investigating. And I think the soundbite that they're landing on is that Act Blue, number one, didn't require that 3-digit secret code that's on your credit card, secret that nobody knows because it's printed right there on the card.
Right.
You, believe it or not, when you made an Act Blue donation, you didn't have to put that 3-digit code in. The second thing is they allowed people to donate to federal and state elections, which are governed by all kinds of crazy regulations, right? We all know that. But you could use one of those prepaid gift cards from the grocery store, that you give to somebody on their birthday.
Right.
With the little scratch off, and it's got the number there. So in other words, there was no verification of identity. So anybody with a gift card, which could be a Russian, a Chinese person, a North Korean, it wouldn't matter. Anybody who had a gift card could donate and type John Smith in the name field just by looking on the public voter roll, right? And pick any name they want and donate. And so they even came up with a term for this called smurfing. So I guess, remember the old cartoon with the little blue guys? Yeah. Yep. So they're all these Smurfs. They all look alike and, whatever, they're fantasy creatures. But there's more to it than that, but that's really the big one. And at the beginning of this month, the New York Times ran an expose on Act Blue. Now, this is, one of those crazy, unexpected things. I've seen it happen a half a dozen times since 2020, where one of the the classic liberal media outlets just dumps a story that's terrible for Democrats. And in the Act Blue story at the beginning of the month, the New York Times revealed internal memos written by Act Blue's lawyers. This is some of the most highly protected evidence that there is, right? Attorney-client information. No court would ever admit it as evidence. It would be so protected. But the New York Times somehow got a hold of it. And they printed excerpts from these communications from Act Blue's lawyers who were telling Act Blue's board that what they were doing was probably illegal. And that was around January of 25 when they wrote it. And then right after that, all of Act Blue's lawyers quit or were fired. So that was weird. And a lot of the board members resigned. Meanwhile, Act Blue continues to deny it's done anything wrong, and it does a lot of whataboutism and says, oh, well, Win Red is just as bad as us, and that kind of thing. But they're not really explicitly denying any of these things. They did testify to Congress in August that they had shut all that stuff down, that they weren't taking prepaid cards anymore, that they were requiring the 3-digit codes and that kind of thing. And so that's what led to Ken Paxton's new lawsuit, because what Ken Paxton, remember, he's the attorney general over in Texas, and he's done such a great job for all these years. He took his investigators, and then they pretended to be fake people and made donations using prepaid credit cards in January and February, months after Act Blue testified under oath that it wasn't allowing that anymore. And so he's now suing them also under Texas's Deceptive and Unfair Trade Secrecy Act, which is funny because he's protecting Democrat donors from Act Blue misleading them about how legal their platform is. And the House Oversight Committee is issuing subpoenas like it's going out of business. They just had 5 former Act Blue officials up there, and every one of them took the Fifth Amendment and refused to answer any question. Not even, are you having a nice day? Nope, I take the Fifth Amendment.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's heating up, and the story's not getting anywhere near as much attention as it deserves. You can imagine why the blue papers aren't covering it. They don't like the story at all. They're not even complaining about Republicans pouncing, which is the usual line.
And why do you think the New York Times was working with that story rather than just helping the nothing to see here narrative?
So this is where we get into pure speculation. We don't know why. Why? And what I've noticed about these stories, Lance, if you go back and look, you mentioned Mar-a-Lago a bit ago. So CBS did one where they wrote a story about what the FBI was really looking for was the Russiagate documents. And it was a long expose-style story, and they ran it, I don't know, February 23, something like that. And then they never came back to that story again. And nobody else followed up on it, and it just, they just dropped it down the well. And this is the same kind of pattern that I see. So, for example, the Times wrote this story with all of this, internal evidence that nobody else had on April 2nd, I think, and they haven't followed up on it. It's just, it's like they had a duty to do it somehow. It was an unpleasant job, and they did it. And so that's it. They're washing their hands of it now. That's the pattern. And so I don't know, maybe the reporters owed somebody a favor.
Yeah, right? That makes you wonder, right? Like if you want to keep working with Tulsi Gabbard and getting the scoop on this, you gotta cover that. We don't know. That's your point. But is there anything else you think it isn't getting the attention it should that you want to bang pots and pans on?
Well, we're in the most insane news cycle that any of us have ever seen in our lifetimes, right? I mean, literally, can you remember anything like this? Cold War, Millennium, what? Right. 9/11, has there ever been anything like this?
Right.
The story that doesn't get anywhere near the attention that it deserves is how much Trump has accomplished.
Right.
I mean, nothing's even close to that. He's done more in 18 months, 15, 16 months than probably 99% of presidents did in 4 or even 8 years.
Right.
And where are all the stories about how historic that is?
Coffee. I'm talking to Jeff Childers from Coffee and COVID. Is that if they want to find you? And I'm just sending all my people over. Do they go to coffeeandcovid.com?
That's it. That'll get you right through the front door. And they should remember they can sign up. There is a free subscription. Substack just puts that option at the bottom of the list. Don't worry. Just, click that and you get the daily column every day for 6 days out of the week.
Well, the labor is worthy of his hire, and our people believe in supporting people like you. So I'm going to encourage them to sign up and pay up like I do. And let's keep giving you the time to be able to think and do the work you do. How many people right now are reading this? About 250,000 people, you think?
That's about the number of official signups. I know there's a lot of sharing. People send it to their
all the time
extended family and friends groups. So Lance, you would be amazed at the penetration when I go places and people come up to me, just that I've never met, and they say, "Hey, I'm a big fan." It's crazy.
No, it's true. I mean, because I had a preacher friend of mine from Pittsburgh, and he discovered you, and he was sending it to me saying, "Have you heard about this guy yet? He's got great stuff." And obviously, I felt convicted. I said, I got to get him on the show because I've been reading them. I'll let all my friends know about you. Thank you, Jeff. Keep it up. You're impacting so many of us with your perspective. That's the thing. I remember Rush Limbaugh said years ago, he said, people aren't dialing in to people in media to hear information. They're interested in hearing a perspective. And you have a consistent way of getting to the core of the truth, exposing what needs to be dealt with cynically, but doing it in such a non-toxic way that it's actually whimsical. And that's an art form, my friend. Guard it. Keep optimistic. And you're helping a whole lot of us. Jeff Childers, thanks for being with us. Coffeeandcovid.com. Sign up right now. I very seldom just promote someone else, period. I'm doing it now.
Support your long-term health with Fatty 15, the science-backed, award-winning Pure C15 supplement.
Fatty 15 is reversing aging at the cellular level, and I know it's doing what I want it to do, which is prove longevity and wellness.
Discover more at fatty15.com.
Everybody hates Beth. She eats all the food she loves and stays slim. Kim starves herself dieting, yet still can't lose weight. Beth is full of energy. Kim always feels tired. Beth has an unfair advantage. She takes Almaced, a breakthrough health and weight loss shake that optimizes your metabolism to help you lose weight in a whole new way.
I couldn't lose weight no matter how much I exercise. I tried Almaced. I lost 26 pounds.
The reason you're having trouble losing weight could be a liver clogged with fat that's slowing your metabolism, making it very difficult to lose weight and stubborn belly fat. Almaced is a scientifically proven food supplement that uses natural amino acids and bioactive peptides to help unclog your liver and optimize your metabolism so it's easier to lose weight.
My name is Stephanie Phillips Solar, and I'm an Almaced success story. I was able to lose 67 pounds with Almaced in roughly 7 to 8 months.
My weight is down. I feel much more energetic than I have in the past.
Over the course of time, I lost a total of 25 pounds. So thank you, Almaced.
Almaced is all natural, supports healthy blood sugar levels, and it's diabetic friendly. Some weight loss plans have you feel weak and hungry, but Almaced will renew your energy, and you can lose weight and feel great.
Almaced's unique protein can truly absorb in your body and aid with weight loss.
Studies showed Almaced helps you lose double the weight compared to other diets.
The fact is, Almaced works, and I highly recommend it.
Go to almaced.com now to get started for just $39.99. That's $4 a meal. We guarantee you can lose weight or you'll get your money back. Be like Beth and get the unfair weight loss advantage with Almaced.
Kevin paid off over $12,000 in credit card debt with the help of Consolidated Credit. They cut his interest rates and lowered his payments so he could pay off his debt fast. Call 800-596-8062 for a free consultation.
Do you suffer in pain? Are you stiff, tense, or less active? Introducing the EasyWell Remedy Massage System, a triple fusion of therapeutic experiences. Full body vibrational therapy increases blood circulation and reduces inflammation. Infrared heat penetrates deep to reduce pain, soothe, and relax. The Ultra Shiatsu pillow with 6 heated nodes mimics a professional massage. Plus, it's detachable for deep relief anywhere you need it. Experience the true remedy for your pain and stiffness. Call now.
So I had friends of mine that wanted me to get involved with a lawsuit a little while ago, pull together some lawyers and some funding to deal with a thing called Smurfs. This is the fraudulent fundraising arm of the left. They are able to flood millions of dollars in. They have an 8-to-1 advantage in Virginia, I'm hearing right now. Where does this money come from? Well, a lot of it is illegal. And would it surprise you that China has an interest in influencing the outcome of elections? How about foreign investment? How about foreign money coming into domestic places? It's as bad as having illegals come into the United States and be given voting status. So if you can march 1 million Muslims from Mecca into New York, they can all vote. And imagine that. I mean, that's how crazy America is. Not saying that 1 million Muslims from Mecca want to be in New York right now. Cost of living is too much. But what I want to point out is that Act Blue is the subject that's in the news right now, and it's related to this thing about the Smurfs, the blue hair, the little blue characters. What James O'Keefe did was he went underground and went to donors. One lady who had evidently, James O'Keefe published a viral Smurfing video in which he went door to door while elderly Democrat donors denied they gave large amounts, like $839,000. In sometimes thousands of small donations. So what was showing up with Act Blue is you got 1,000 donations of $400, $1,000, $250, $2,500 from some old lady in New Jersey or in Michigan. And what they would do is they would find the names in the voter rolls, and then they would get gift cards or credit cards funded from foreign sources or other nefarious sources, and they would call in on behalf of these fictitious people that are on the voter rolls, but the fiction is the people that didn't make the call. These guys were making the call to put money into their own pockets over at Act Blue in order to influence the outcome of elections. And so you follow the game. You see, every time I have to do a transaction, they're saying, can you give me the 3-digit security code number there, Mr. Wallnau? And I'm always confusing, the 4-digit American Express with the 3-digit on the back. But they're always asking, well, with Act Blue, they never asked that. They don't want to know the details about where the money's coming from. They were just taking the money in from any source they could. And how big a game is that? Well, we're talking about when you talk about $101.5 billion worth of campaign money, you can affect a Senate race or a congressional race, my friend. So anyway, it took a while, but thank God for Ken Paxton. I don't know what the other attorney generals do. We have 50 states. Why do we only have one Ken Paxton? The fact of the matter is, this guy clubs Philistines. He's the only guy that goes after them. Goes after the gates of Gaza and walks off with them. Creates a real problem for a guy like me who wants to be a moral Puritan. And this is the guy that's fighting all the time in the arena and taking the hits to take ground from an enemy that other civilized attorney generals refuse to go after because they're looking for their next career step. Anyway, lest I digress, Ken Paxton just sued Act Blue yesterday under the state's Deceptive Trade Practices Act. He can't go into Louisiana and into Alabama and other states, or Michigan and New Jersey and New York, and do it there because he's not the attorney general, but he can do it in Texas. And so he roped them in like a herd of diseased cattle, according to Jeffrey Towlers. Because what he did was he had his own staff, his own lawyers, call in and made donations using prepaid cards and gift cards, I guess Starbucks type cards, and you never guess what happened. They took the money from these sources that weren't properly vetted with cards that weren't properly authorized, and they took their money. And so Paxton said, "Good." They did it with his own legal team. So despite all the new safeguards that Act Blue said they were putting in, investigators in Texas said they were still able to make donations using fake names, gift cards, prepaid cards, including to the DNC itself and various Texas candidates. So it isn't a clean. So anyway, when the New York Times comes out, which is like the, that's what is it? That's the official voice of the Democrat Party in media. All the truth is true to print or fit to print for the Democrats. That's where you go. They even came out and did a hit piece and said, "Hey, Act Blue is in big trouble, man. They're getting exposed for fraud." So they sent their lawyers up there to the Hill and the directors of Act Blue. Well, one after another, they're all resigning from the organization. That's a sign right there. The trouble's coming. They're all leaving. They're bailing out of that ship. When they went up on the Hill, they were asked questions, and I think it was like 146 times they pled the fifth. They weren't going to say anything. Did you enjoy the weather today in Washington? No, I didn't have anything to plead the fifth. Yeah, there it is. Act Blue employees, 146 times they plead the fifth. All right, so what am I getting at? Act Blue may have been taking in hundreds of millions of dollars from foreign interests in order to war against American Christian MAGA candidates. And they got away with it. But now Trump's been after them. He's been after them. He's always cracking the whip with his team. Break that thing down, get them. You're always waiting for the perp walk, right? When are they going to pay? We all know these things are happening, but when are we ever going to catch them? Well, John Solomon will break down the Act Blue donation scandal for us in this little video clip, and then I'll tell you what's happening. Let's watch this.
This is a bombshell report just a few minutes ago over at justthenews.com. Ben Weed and I just broke a story. Remember we had Chairman Brian Stile on here. He's been leading this investigation since the summer of 23. Almost all of the senior leadership of Act Blue who were there in 2024 when those hundreds of $millions belonged to, they all took the fifth, according to this report that we put out. They also all are leaving out of concern of what might have happened while they were there. And there's some pretty significant red flags about suspicious donations that didn't get flagged at the time, but now look like to be problematic. This is a bombshell report. It sets up, there is a grand jury and an FBI investigation that's paralleling or shadowing what the Congress has done. Congress referred some of this evidence to them a few weeks ago. This is a big story. Act Blue, John Brennan, James Comey, all in the deeps of very serious criminal investigations. And Kash Patel on TV yesterday saying, couple weeks, 2 weeks, you're going to see some big arrests and indictments. That's consistent with what we've been reporting on the show. But there's some movement. So there's some accountability movement. We'll see if it happens.
So connect these dots, friends. Kash Patel just came under severe attack by a fictitious article from the Atlantic magazine. What is it called? Atlanta Journal. It's another one of those. It's like the Daily Beast. It's owned, controlled, funded by the radical left. And they do these sophisticated articles, supposedly, thoughtful articles. But when their articles are quoting fictitious sources, people close to the White House but don't want to be named. I mean, you might as well be talking to the janitor or somebody, in a building and saying they're close to the Oval Office. They are. They clean it out once a week, but they don't want to be named. The situation is that they have like 70 people claiming Kash Patel has a drinking problem. 70 people. The problem is they're all anonymous. Not one of them is coming clean on what it is. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, I'm going to get into this story in a minute. I'm still on Act Blue. Is what the left is doing is they're hoping that they can provoke a hit job on Kash Patel to knock him out of the saddle, like they could get out a Pam Bondi or a Kristi Noem, but a Pam Bondi particularly. And they want to destabilize that Justice Department and the FBI because Kash is right now He's closing the loop on Act Blue. Along with Ken Paxton, they've got John Brennan, the former head of the CIA, who was I always said he was the Haman behind the Trump impeachment process because he was former communist who actually ended up in charge of the CIA, believe it or not. And he got the green light from Obama to set up Trump on fictitious FISA warrant, exculpatory data that would be coming out that they could try to pin on Trump as a Russian collusion so that they could delegitimize his campaign, his candidacy, actually his presidency. Now, this is about as high an act of treason as has ever been done. And I don't know if Obama will ever see this grenade blow up. But here's what he did. He said Trump got elected, but we can get him impeached with fake evidence. We can make it look like he's working with Russia. Brennan, you got to go after this. We're going to work with, sources we've got. We're going to get the heat off of Hillary and some trouble stories that she has regarding their involvement with uranium and Russia and personal finances. And we're going to redirect this towards Trump. And we've got this fake dossier over here, the Steele dossier. And this fake dossier, which has been manufactured and manipulated by our lawyers, Perkins Coie, to get like an Atlanta Journal article, talking about Trump and exposing him over there. We're going to make that the premise for a Mueller investigation. We're going to kneecap his presidency right on the narrative. We're going to hit it in the New York Times. We're going to have it on CNN. We're going to go MSNBC. We're going to go, Rachel Maddow will be on this. We're going to make Trump smeared and possibly pull him out of office. We got some people planted in the State Department that'll bring up some stuff later on. The point is, it was a collusion is an insurrection to remove the presidency duly elected out of office. John Brennan was the starter on it. He was the one that got the authorization from Obama. So he's the guy they've now got. He wants to have his trial done in D.C., where they own the courts. It's like the mob. It's like the Corleones. They want to do this where they own the judges. They want to do it where 96% of the jury pool is going to be Democrat. However, since he screwed up by going after Trump at Mar-a-Lago, and they planted evidence in his house saying that he was, not properly handling documents and information, well, guess what? Florida becomes the platform for the trial, and that's, sorry to say, more conservative country. So they want Patel out now because this stuff's about to come. By the way, Comey goes down with Brennan once Brennan goes. We'll be right back.
Hello, welcome to T-Town. Like men over 40 everywhere. These guys experience a drop in testosterone. Don't worry, it happens to all of us. Some guys took my advice about how to boost their testosterone, and some didn't. This guy got the message loud and clear.
That's right, Nugenix Total T2. From the #1 selling testosterone brand at GNC comes Nugenix Total T2, a unique new formula that combines the ultimate free and total testosterone booster with a powerful nitric oxide booster that works in just 3 hours. Feel like a new man, leaner, stronger, with more energy and drive. Get your complimentary bottle by texting SURGE to 321-321.
Thanks. It'll make you feel like a new man. And by the way, she'll like it too.
You can only try before you buy with this special offer. Get your complimentary bottle now. Text SURGE to 321-321. Do it now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Neurozone Brain Supplement absolutely free.
Hey, I'm Dr. Drupinski. I've been looking at the aging process for a long time. Fatty 15 actually slows it down. Fatty 15 comes out of Navy dolphin research. Without the C15, our cells become fragile and age and oxidize. This pushes that back. That's why I take Fatty 15.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you.
Call or scan for your free writer's guide today.
Life is precious.
I want to make a point. No matter what happens, I'll always be there for you.
I know. When a woman experiences an unplanned pregnancy, she's faced with a difficult decision. Preborn connects with life-affirming pregnancy clinics across the nation and provides them with free ultrasound sessions for expectant mothers. When a mother sees her baby on an ultrasound and hears their heartbeat, it doubles the chance she'll choose life. With your gift of $28, Preborn will provide a free ultrasound for an expectant mother. Visit preborn.com/life to save a baby's life.
Let's go back to my friend Ken Paxton and see what he says about Act Blue. Go ahead, Ken. Tell us what's happening.
Started investigating them back in 2023 because we'd heard reports of various improprieties. And so we actually, because it's federal election laws, Federal Election Commission, we actually referred it to them. I know you wouldn't be shocked to know that the Biden administration did not pursue anything against Act Blue, and they continue to raise money. So then, of course, more recently, there was testimony in front of Congress by some of the Act Blue lawyers acknowledging that Act Blue had lied to Congress. They had not disclosed some of the problems with their fundraising, including potential using straw names and using names that were not matched to the actual donors, and also potential foreign investments, which is also completely illegal. So we actually tested it. I had my attorney go online and test it, and we were able to make donations without fully disclosing who we were. So we know the site's not, and they're raising money inappropriately. So we have now sued them. We're going to use discovery to try to understand more fully how big of a problem this is.
So anyway, Kash Patel is obviously, the guy's pushing Paxton, and he's pushing with the Act Blue case, but he's also pushing to expose the Russian collusion conspiracy with Brennan, and his department is very important. So it makes sense that the Atlantic Journal would come out with a hit piece saying that he's inebriated. And let me see if I've got my articles here. I got some things I wanted to share with you. Throw that over there. It has to do with, here we go. So his erratic behavior, I got the article here. And so what they say is that he was so freaking out after Pam Bondi was fired that he was locked out of his computer and was having a meltdown, thinking that possibly he was getting fired and he was being locked out from the White House. And it was an emotional outburst. Let me just say something. I get emotional and get an outburst, and I'm not even under the pressure this guy's under, and I'm a Christian. I got other resources I can occasionally draw from as a consolation, as a resource. I pray for these guys, man. The hell they must be going through up there. You don't help them, by the way. Let me just tell you once again, when you heap your condemnation, your self-righteous, smug criticism, where's the perp walk? Do we need to get someone else in there? You don't know what you're talking about. You wouldn't last a day in the arena these guys are in. Have a little humility. God sovereignly is putting people in place. Stand behind them. Pray for courage. Pray for soundness of mind. Pray for wisdom. Ask God to surround them. Break every assignment of manipulation and fear and confusion that demonically would descend upon him. So I don't know if he was frustrated because when Pam went, he wasn't sure if he was the next guy on the chopping block. I guess you could feel that way in Washington working around Donald Trump on a bad week. But the rest of this stuff, you read into it. Like he had a meltdown. No, he was cussing, mad. He was frantic. Hey, how come I can't get in? What's happening? But he's got leaks. He's got snakes. Remember, the top 10% of the cabinet is Trump-appointed people. Let's just say God's anointed people, working with 90% backstabbers, betrayers, and spies. The fact is they don't have, with all the surveillance in the world they've got, they don't have one video of Kash slurring a syllable. I've been accused of being drunk, and I don't even drink. Lance, you're the other night on the broadcast, you were slurring your words. You shouldn't be on if you've had something to drink. No, slurring my words probably because I'm exhausted. Anyway, he's done more and accomplished more in the plummeting of crime to the lowest level in 100 years, people. It's like the people are frustrated with Trump. Trump's done enough in 14 months to rival any president in their entire administration. Anyway, so evidently he's been spied on at Club Ned's in Washington. I'm going to go to Club Ned. But next time, I'm in Washington all the time. I'll be there next week. I'll do a podcast from Club Ned. See if I can find out what... He's obviously intoxicated. He also goes to the Poodle Room in Las Vegas. Well, I'm glad that we got our spies out there following the FBI director to the Poodle Room, where he frequently spends part of his weekends. And yet, out of all 70 of these eyewitnesses, none of them will give their name. They're all anonymous. They're fictitious. Or they're distantly removed. Anyway, my point is this. Kash Patel is right within 24 hours in his inebriated state to sue the Atlantic magazine. And I say, yeah, let's go after him. Sue them. Because like Trump, you got to sue these. I talk about media, academia, politics, entertainment, and business. Folks, if we Christians do not operate at the top of those institutional mountains, if we don't have our own pushback mechanisms, these people they're like the gates of hell. They'll destroy this country. But Jesus said, I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it. So we got to go up against these fortified strongholds of lies and bring them down. No, none of the 70 people are willing to go on record who all said that they saw Kash inebriated. Not one of them. So the Atlantic's going to have a problem because he's suing them for $250 million. $250 million. That's 400 million shekels. Hold in your mind the fact that the FBI will be the one making the arrests on pending grand jury indictments of Act Blue. You see the connection? The Brennan investigation with Clapper and their conspiracy with Russiagate, that's FBI, about to come out in 2 weeks. Same thing here with the Act Blue coming out in 2 weeks. Why do you think they're doing a hit job on Kash Patel? Because he's coming down. You've been waiting for some results? Well, they're coming. They're coming. Fully 100% of the 70 people claiming Kash was a notorious drunk are anonymous sources. Anonymous sources, my friend. Play video 7 with Dan Bongino.
The hit on Kash Patel, the bullshit hit by the Atlantic, which I addressed yesterday, is going to make a lot more sense in the coming weeks and months. I can't give you a definitive timeline. I'm on the outside now. However, I can tell you what I know is going on because I started a lot of it. It's going to make a lot more sense real soon as to why the left-wing media and the Democrats want Kash Patel out.
So what happens is Tulsi Gabbard is releasing a lot of information of newly declassified records revealing the coordinated effort to manipulate the Trump impeachment, to illegally, with lies, force a duly elected president out of office. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence sent criminal referrals to the Justice Department for the whistleblower whose complaint helped trigger President Donald Trump's 2019 impeachment. And Fox News Digital has learned, I want to refer information that may constitute possible criminal activity in violation of federal criminal laws committed by one or more former employees of the intelligence community. Comey? Brennan? Let's find out. Here's what I learned from Jeff Childers today. I just did a little interview with him from the Coffee and COVID Substack writer. He said, in his experience as a lawyer, when the Justice Department begins making documents public, it means that the grand jury has already been given the evidence. Meaning, for a grand jury indictment, there has to be evidence released, and it means that the evidence is already in the hands of the grand jury, and therefore it can be released to the public so the public can be informed. The danger is, if the public is informed ahead of the grand jury, you can actually throw off the trial because there's prejudicial information out in the market. You understand how complicated this can get? If you get information leaks going out in front of a criminal process, it can actually work to the criminal's advantage, claiming that the leaks are influencing public opinion, juries, etc. So, these newly declassified records expose the paper trail and the digital trail of the collusion in the intelligence community to work together to destroy Trump. And she's releasing that now. She's exposing Biden administration and Hunter Biden dealings with Ukraine, those stories that we never got quite understood. The Alexander, you remember when this prosecutor Shokin was told, Biden bragged about how he said, get rid of the guy, fire him. Well, it's because he was exposing Hunter Biden making money and the Biden family, the big guy getting 10% of the cut off of all the deals that the son brought in from doing business in Ukraine. It's like a corrupt little Italian, mob family there with the Bidens. And, remember how Biden boasted? I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I looked at him and I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor isn't fired, you're not getting your money. Biden recalled telling then Ukraine President Petro Poroshenko. Biden recollected the conversation during an event for the Council on Foreign Relations 2018 when he was bragging. And they put in place someone who was solid at the time, solid in not exposing Hunter's and Biden's money trail with the Ukraine scandal. So all that's coming out, and it never comes out quite when you want it, right? Well, be gracious, because the wheels of justice grind slowly, but they do grind exceedingly fine. And I think we're at a point now where, except for, I don't want to mess you up before I go into a break here, but John Thune, I heard yesterday, may have screwed up the process with the Senate being able to advance this case so that it could be done now versus delay of 6 weeks. How irritating. John Thune trying to be polite with his Democrat senator colleagues. Instead of demanding documents, he is requesting them. Well, I can't believe I don't have any more time today. I wanted to give you the, Operation Arctic Frost, that other hearing. This is about when they targeted Turning Point, the Heritage Foundation, all of us that were conservative leaders of organizations. There was a coordinated effort by the machinery of government to specifically target and destroy. That's why Charlie was crying when Trump got elected, because he knew he wasn't going to have to go to prison. Folks, these people are evil, and they want to get back in the evil game in October and November this year. We got to stop it. I'll see you again tomorrow. We're winning. Let's stay focused. Bye-bye.
This is a bottlenose dolphin, and this is the breakthrough nutrient doctors discovered that helped dolphins age healthier. Now, over 100 peer-reviewed studies later, it can help you age healthier too. Discover how at fatty15.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul. For 50 years, I've watched Washington betray the American people with dishonest money. Nixon's closure of the gold window made endless debt and war inevitable. Today, our middle class, our currency, and our economy are dying in real time. In my new book, Dispatches to Future Generations, I reveal how we got here, plus the solution, gold. And that's why I'm partnering with Birch Gold Group to give you a free copy of my book along with their free info kit on gold. Click below to get both right now. Inside the info kit, you'll learn how to move your IRA or 401k into physical gold. So click below to claim your free copy of my Dispatches to Future Generations and Birch Gold's info kit today.
The bathroom of your dreams is only a phone call away with BCI Bath and Shower. We can make your ordinary bath and shower extraordinary. This is not a cookie cutter design. This is a complete custom build that will fit your every need, and discounts for seniors and military.
Attention homeowners. Are you behind on your mortgage payments? Is the bank threatening to take your home? Is your home worth less than you owe? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you need to call this number right now.
Call 800-714-8615.
Kevin paid off over $12,000 in credit card debt with the help of Consolidated Credit. They cut his interest rates and lowered his payments so he could pay off his debt fast. Call 800-596-8062 for a free consultation.
Did you know that thousands of authors across the country have written books and published them with Page Publishing? If you've written a book, Page Publishing can help you through the process. We cut through the confusion of the publishing world to make it easy for you. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, we get you printed, distributed, and sold on Amazon, Apple iTunes, and in bookstores across the country. We'll even help you promote your book. That's right, we do all this for you. Biography, self-help, mystery, novels, sci-fi, even a children's book. No matter what genre, Page Publishing can bring your book to life. Call today for your free author submission kit and find out how you can be the next published author at Page Publishing.
Call